bet he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he said if Brandon can get up and do the things he does every day, then it inspires the rest of the team. How healthy is he this year? Do you think he'll be able to go through the season without being injured?
It's always fun to have a fifth-year senior quarterback that's played a lot, that's had some success. And I think Brandon's 19-5, and you know, he didn't have a great year last year, and that's the reason he didn't get a lot of publicity going into this media day because of that. We held him back. He held himself back a little bit, but you know, he won us 11 games, and that was huge. And the fact that after our LSU game last year, he pretty much was about 50 to 60%. But I learned a lot from Brandon. He persevered. He's a good quarterback. He spins the ball well on his passes. He throws a very tight spiral. He's one of those guys that you look at and the ball doesn't look like it's going very fast, but it's always on the money. He's the most accurate guy I've ever been around throwing, and so he's been in this league. He understands it. He understands what he's getting ready to get into. He knows he's got a young offensive line. He knows that he's got 5 good running backs. I think is going to help him. I think our receivers are going to be good. And again, all these are factors that will help Brandon. But again, I like his mindset, his attitude, and how he's worked this summer. And he's got a chance to be a real good one. But again, he's got to keep that injury bug off of him, which I think he can. I think he's learned. Last year, there was times when we just said, get rid of the ball, throw it away, and he tried to make more out of what he should have. And I think going into this season, I think he learned from that scenario.
How do you own the other guys in recent years? You share a time in Tuscaloosa that brings some street cred, shall we say, to the program. How does his hiring just change that thing called Auburn, Alabama?
Well, you know, it'll change it for a year till we first play one game, and then after that, we'll have played before. Nick's a good coach. He knows, you know, first year going in, you got to get your philosophy and you got to get everything going in the right direction, get everything positive, and put a staff together. It's hard. First year at a school is tough on coaches, the head coach, because of all the things you have to do other than just coach. You have to get your recruiting started. It's tough on families, but again, you know, one of the reasons obviously he's at Alabama is to stop our streak, but I'm at Auburn to keep our streak going. I mean, that's one of the big things at both those schools that you're asked to do. And so we've been fortunate. We've played pretty good the last few years. We've had some good teams. Nick brings in a different attitude, obviously, and I'm sure they're looking forward to the game. They'll be well prepared. I've played against him, coached against him while he was at LSU. It'll be a different type of match because the other coaches were basically, since I've been at Auburn, have been offensive head coaches. Nick now defensive head coach. Most people don't even think about that, and you coach differently when you coach against a defensive head coach than you do an offensive head coach because they manage the game differently. So it'll be a little different for us, but again, that's a huge game for this state, and you know, we always look forward to it. A huge concern when you're playing with 4 new starters. I like the players we have in those situations, and we've got great depth. Hunal has been with me 13 years. I've got total confidence in him. He works them very hard. We had a good spring practice. We'll have to understand our limitations there going into the season. I think you know, the type of player that we have there, that will be one of our strengths by the time we get to midseason. I don't have any doubt with that. But again, we've got to, going back to coaching, we got to know how to, you know, what we can do and can't do with them early. And then Brandon's also going to have to be real smart with that, and because, you know, his well-being lies behind those guys. So it'll be interesting, but again, I think there'll be a lot of changeover in our offensive line the first 3 or 4 games, trying to get the right combination of players. We have good talent there. Special teams, it scares me. We lost everybody: kickers, punters, deep snappers. Only guy we have coming back is our kickoff return man, who Tristan Davis, been one of the best in the country the last couple of years, which is going to be huge with the new kickoff rule. But you know, it'll be a thrill a minute with new guys out there for the first time punting and kickoffs and field goals, and you got to live with it. Every once, just like next year, we'll have to live with a new quarterback going into the season after Brandon's graduated. So this is a year for transition with our kickers and punters, and hopefully those guys can hold their own.
What changed
I think it'll be a huge change with the new rule. 30-yard, they're kicking off from the 30-yard line, depending on how good your kicker is. There's going to be a tremendous amount of coaching now going into your kickoff coverage team, where you're going to kick it, what direction, high one, long one, squib. There's a lot more coaching involved, and then vice versa on your return team. It's more important now that you spend more time on trying to get the ball back to the 35, 40-yard line. I think there'll be a 10-yard average difference on starting line of scrimmages after kicks. Last year, for instance, I think we had 63, 64 kickoffs. Only 8 of them were returned. Same guy kicking off this year from the 30, we'll probably have 50% of them returned. And so it's going to be very important that all of us, coach the heck out of our return teams and our coverage teams, because it's going to be a little different.
Where do you see Cody Burns fitting in this year? Or do you plan on
Yeah, I'm anxious to see what Cody can do. He's highly talented. He's a little different quarterback than we've had. He's very mobile. He can throw in and out of the pocket. He's strong-armed. He came to Auburn because he still wanted to be a drop-back quarterback, not one of these guys that's going to be your tailback in the backfield, playing quarterback. He can do those things. We won't play Cody unless he's ready to play. Brandon obviously is our quarterback. If we think Cody can help us in certain situations, we'll use him. But I'm not going to use him and take a year away from him, just because he might be able to give us a couple of plays. I think that's cheating him a little bit. But we'll talk about it as we go into the season with him. But again, there's a lot of unknown with us with him. How much can he absorb of the offense? How much is he going to be ready to play? And the next few weeks will tell that. Well, I was on the 12-man committee that changed it, and I was one of the guys that voted it to go back. I thought, that committee is for the well-being of college football and the athletes, and the aspect of keeping our sport one of the better sports. You can really mess it up if you mess with it too much. And I thought we probably crossed the line some last year. We cut out 12 to 17 plays in a game, and fans pay the bills. And I think that it's important that we give those plays back. And then when we changed it back, we looked for different scenarios in which to give the officials an opportunity to manage the game a little quicker, start the clock faster, get the teams back on the field. Don't let the teams huddle up on the sideline and, coming out of a TV timeout, and then, okay, you got a half hour once you come out there to snap the ball. I think what's going to happen now, if there's not a TV timeout, you got 30 seconds, and they're going to give you the clock, and they're going to start that 25-second clock, and you're going to have to be out on the field going. So we've given a little bit more rope to the officials to let them get the game going, sped up. The kicking from the 30 obviously was one of those to where the clock starts when they catch it again instead of when it's kicked. And hopefully that'll run a little bit more time off. But, again, that's going to add some excitement to it, too. So hopefully the changes we changed back will help, and then the changes we added will speed it up a little bit. We don't need 4.5-hour games. That's too long for fans and players to be in the stadium.
Steve Shaw talked about maybe one of the 42nd pick on NFL does next year. You like that?
Well, we brought that up. As a matter of fact, they're looking at that. That's one of the things that we really considered, and then at the end we decided, let's let all the coaches think about it, talk about it, discuss it, and then have a national vote on it next year to see if we want to go to a 40-second clock. There's good and bad. The mechanics are different, obviously, for the officials. That would be a major change for them. It wouldn't be any different for coaches now because they basically have that much time anyway, but I think it would just make it a little bit more consistent.